So you've probably heard of Google Anti-Gravity, but only a few know how to create a professional website with it. Well, I've been testing it out pretty extensively, and I've got to tell you, most people have completely wrong expectations about what this tool actually does. Because here's the thing, everyone sees AI website builder and immediately think it's going to create the next Amazon or Netflix for them with zero effort, but that's not what this is, and that misconception is setting people up for major disappointment. The reality is way more interesting than the hype, but also way more limited than what most beginners expect. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. So in this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through everything step by step, from the moment that you first open it up to actually interacting with it, to seeing what you can realistically create. More importantly, I'll show you the real limitations so you don't waste hours expecting it to do something it simply can't. So that by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether Google Anti-Gravity Builder is actually useful for your projects or if it's just another flashy gimmick that sounds better than it performs. So let's dive in and see what this thing can really do. Now, if you want to master AI tools and learn how to build profitable SaaS apps and websites and AI agents and mobile apps with AI, I've created a complete masterclass that shows you exactly how to do it all step by step. And this masterclass normally costs $299 to join, but since you are watching this video, you can join completely free. Just check out the link in the description below to get free access to my masterclass, and you can start building your AI-powered business today. So what exactly is Google Anti-Gravity AI, and why is everyone starting to talk about it? Now, at its core, Anti-Gravity is a free AI-powered development tool built by Google that lets you create websites and apps just by describing what you want. You don't have to sit there writing code or figuring out syntax. You can just literally type something like create a modern portfolio website with a dark theme and responsive layout, and then it will handle the actual building for you. What really makes this different from traditional website builders or even tools like VS Code is how much of the work it takes off of your plate. Normally, building a site means you plan everything out. You write the code, you test it, you fix the bugs, and you keep going back and forth. And here, that entire process is handled by AI agents. So they don't just generate code, they plan the structure, they build it, they test it, and even debug issues on their own. It feels less like using a tool and more like working with a team that's doing the heavy lifting for you. A big reason it works so well comes down to its features. Anti-Gravity uses something called multi-agent orchestration, which basically means multiple AI agents can work together at the same time on different parts of your project. There's also built-in browser automation, so it can actually test what it builds, and a knowledge base that keeps improving as you use it. The more you work with it, the smarter and more helpful it becomes, and because of how simple the process is, this tool works for almost anyone. If you're a beginner, you can build something functional without really needing to learn coding from scratch. And if you're more experienced, then it can speed up your workflow a lot by handling repetitive tasks. Even small business owners or creators who just want a website up quickly can use it without getting stuck on all the technical details. So overall, Anti-Gravity isn't just another website builder, it's a completely different way of building where your main job is to describe the idea and then the AI takes care of turning it into something real. All right, so let's go ahead and get everything set up so that we can actually start using Anti-Gravity. To access it, head over to antigravity.google and then download the app. It's not browser-based, so you'll need to install it on your computer first. Now, the good thing is it works across macOS and Windows and Linux, so whatever you're using, you should be covered. Once the download finishes, just go through the installation like you would with any other normal desktop app. After launching it for the first time, the sign-in process is very straightforward. There's no long registration or setup flow. You simply log in using your existing Google account, and you're in. Within a few seconds, you'll land directly inside of the main interface. So now, when you first see the dashboard here, it might look familiar, especially if you've used tools like VS Code before. The layout is very similar. On the left side, you'll find the Explorer panel where all of your project files live. There's also a menu bar here and the main editor area in the center where your code and your project structure show up. Now, what makes Anti-Gravity different is the right side of the screen. Now, this is where the agent panel sits, and this is where most of the magic, well, happens. This is where you type your prompts, you describe what you want to build, you choose your AI model, and decide whether you want to use plan mode or a faster execution mode. Now, if you want to go a bit more advanced, there's also an option to switch to the Agent Manager view, which lets you run multiple AI agents at the same time working on different parts of your project. And as for pricing, right now, Anti-Gravity is completely free during its public preview phase, but you do also get access to it without paying anything at all, along with pretty generous usage limits powered by Gemini 3 Pro. You can actually build and test projects without worrying about hitting restrictions too quickly. Looking at the official pricing structure, there are 3 plans. The individual plan is free at $0 per month and is meant for anyone who just wants to start building. Then there's the developer plan, which is tied to Google One subscriptions like AI Pro or Ultra, and that one gives you higher limits and a more flexible AI credit system. And finally, there's the organization plan through Google Cloud, which is designed for teams and larger workflows, although that one is still marked as coming soon. So right now, you should have Anti-Gravity installed, you should be logged in and have a basic idea of where everything is. And that's all you need to move on and start building your first project. Now that you are inside of Anti-Gravity, let's go ahead and take a minute to really understand how everything is laid out here, because this is where you'll be spending most of your time. When you first open it up, the interface feels very familiar, especially if you've ever used VS Code. It's clean, it's structured, and it doesn't feel overwhelming once you know where things are. On the left side, you'll see the Explorer panel, and this is where all of your project files are listed. As you start building websites or apps, everything, your folders, your files, and structure will show up here. And right here in the center is the main editor area, and this is where your project actually lives visually. When Anti-Gravity generates a website or makes changes, this is where you will see the code and structure update in real time. If you look at the top right here, there's an option called Open Agent Manager, and this is where things start to feel a bit more advanced. Clicking this switches you into a multi-agent view where you can have multiple AI agents working at the same time on different parts of your project. You don't need to use this right away, but it is good to know it's there once you do start building more complex setups. Now going back to the left sidebar, you'll notice a few familiar panels like Explorer, Search, and Source Control. Explorer is for your files, Search helps you quickly find anything inside your project, and Source Control is there if you're working with version control like Git. Even if you're not using those features yet, having a basic idea of what each section does makes navigation much easier. On the right side is where the main interaction happens, and this is the agent panel, and this is where you'll spend most of your time. You type your prompts in here, you describe what you want to build, and you choose your model, and you switch between plan mode or fast execution. So everything you create in Anti-Gravity starts from this panel, so getting comfortable with it makes the entire process smoother. If you want to customize anything, you can go ahead and head over to the bottom right corner and click the Anti-Gravity Settings button. Since the whole system is built on top of VS Code, you can import your existing VS Code setup, including your settings, your extensions, and your key bindings. So that way, if you already have a workflow that you're used to, you can just bring it in without having to rebuild everything from scratch. You should now have a clear idea of where everything is, and it might feel slightly technical at first, but after a bit of use, it becomes very intuitive, and from here, you're then ready to start building your first website. So let's go ahead and create the first website inside Anti-Gravity, and this is where the workflow starts to feel very different from a normal website builder. To begin, go to the agent panel on the right side of the screen, and this is where you will describe the website that you want Anti-Gravity to build. Now, the important thing here is to be specific. Don't just say, make me a website. Give it the sections that you want, the design style, the color direction, and anything else that matters for the final result. So for this example, the prompt we use is, please create a clean and modern personal portfolio website from scratch. It should have a hero section at the top introducing who I am, a portfolio section, and a testimonial section. Use a minimalist design with a dark color scheme and make sure that it is fully responsive. Utilize a modern tech stack such as Vite. So after entering the prompt, Anti-Gravity starts planning and building the website on its own. It creates the basic page structure, it sets up the layout, it generates the content, and it builds everything without you needing to manually write the code. Now, the more detail that you can include in your prompt, the better the output usually becomes, because the AI has a clearer direction to follow. And once the generation is done, open up the browser preview and check the results. So in this example, the site includes a hero section here at the top, a portfolio section for showcasing work, and a testimonial section to make the page feel more complete and credible. Now, this gives you a full starting point instead of an empty page. So from here, editing is just as simple. If you want to change the headline, adjust the layout, or rewrite the text, or update the design, you can describe that change directly in the agent panel using your plain language. Anti-gravity will then handle the update automatically, so you don't have to touch the code again unless you want to. Once you do see the first version of your site, it is normal to feel like, well, something's missing. Everything is there, but it doesn't fully match the look or the feel that you had in mind yet. And this is where you start refining the design and making it look closer to what you actually want. All design changes in anti-gravity can be done directly through the agent panel here. You don't need to manually search through files just to change colors or fonts or spacing or layouts. You can just simply describe what you want in plain language, and anti-gravity updates the code for you. So the key is to be specific, because the more exact your instruction is, then the closer the result will be to what you might have imagined. A good way is to start by asking anti-gravity for suggestions before changing anything. So let's use this prompt. What design improvements would you suggest for this portfolio website to make it look more modern and professional? Focus on color scheme, typography, and overall layout. So after sending that, anti-gravity analyzes the current website and gives recommendations based on modern design standards. And this is helpful because you're not just randomly changing things. You get a clear direction for the colors, the typography, the spacing, and overall layout before applying updates. So then let's send a second prompt to apply those changes directly. And we can say something like, please update the website with the following changes. Switch the color scheme to a deep navy and a gold combination. Update the fonts to a modern sans serif for headings and a clean, readable font for body text. Add placeholder images to the portfolio project cards. Ensure the layout is fully optimized for mobile with proper spacing and stacked sections. And refine the overall layout to have more breathing room between sections. So after anti-gravity finishes updating the site with that prompt, open up the browser preview again and walk through the result. And you should see the new deep navy and gold color scheme, the updated fonts, the better spacing, and the placeholder images added to the portfolio cards. The layout should also feel more balanced with more breathing room between sections instead of everything just feeling all cramped. Now, the mobile side is important here too. Since the prompt includes mobile optimization, anti-gravity adjusts the layout so that sections stack up properly. Spacing stays clean, and the website remains easy to use on smaller screens. Now, you can always continue refining by sending another prompt, but this gives the site a much more professional direction right away. After building the main sections, you might start thinking about how to make the site feel more complete without adding a lot of extra work. Anti-gravity handles a lot of that automatically once you give it the right direction. Now, one of the biggest things here is content generation. Instead of writing every headline and paragraph yourself, anti-gravity can generate content that fits each section of your site. It understands what a hero section should say, how a portfolio should be described, and what testimonials usually look like. It doesn't just stop there either. Each portfolio item can have its own dedicated page with a full write-up, including the project title, description, tech stack, and placeholder images, all created automatically. So here, this is exactly what we're going to do using this prompt. Please update the portfolio section to display 6 projects instead of 3. Each project card should link to its own dedicated page containing a full project title, detailed description, tech stack used, and a back button to return to the main page. Keep the grid layout clean and evenly spaced, and ensure each dedicated page follows the same design style as the rest of the website. So after running that, the portfolio expands into a grid with 6 projects, and each one becomes clickable. Opening any project takes you to its own page where everything is already filled in. So now going through them here in the browser preview, it shows how consistent everything looks without having to manually build out each page one by one. SEO is another part that's easy to overlook, but anti-gravity can handle it through a simple prompt. It can add proper meta tags and generate alt text for images and organize headings in a way that makes the site easier for search engines to understand. So these are small details, but they do make a big difference once your site is live. Layout improvements also come into play as your content grows. Anti-gravity can suggest better ways to arrange sections and adjust spacing so everything feels more balanced. You're not stuck manually fixing alignment or structure. It can handle all of that based on what's already on the page. Now, everything still comes down to how you prompt it. So just describe what you want and it will build it out, which keeps the process fast without losing control over the result. Now, once the main page is done, the next step is adding the pages that most websites usually have, like about, services, and contact. You know these. So these are the pages that people expect to see, and they help make the site feel more complete and usable. You don't need to manually create each page or set up the layout yourself. Again, you can just do everything through a single prompt. So let's say, Please add an About page with a professional bio section, a Services page, displaying 4 services in a clean card layout, and a Contact page with a contact form. Update the navigation menu to include all pages and customize the header and footer to stay consistent with the existing design across all pages. So after setting that, Anti-Gravity generates each page automatically. The About page comes with a bio section that fits the style of the site. The Services page shows a structured list of offerings in a clean layout, and the Contact page includes a working contact form. So now everything is already filled in with placeholder content that matches the overall design. The navigation also updates on its own. All the new pages get added to the menu, so users can move between them without anything breaking or missing. And you don't have to manually link pages or organize the menu, it's all handled for you. The header and the footer are adjusted at the same time to stay consistent across every page, and this keeps the design unified, so no matter which page you open, everything feels connected and part of the same website. Now, going through the browser preview again, you can see here and click each page and see how everything flows together. And if something needs to change, you can always go back to the agent panel and then just describe the update, and Anti-Gravity will handle it the same way as before. So before going live, it's always a good idea to check how everything actually works outside the editor. So open up the browser preview again and go through your site like a normal visitor would. Scroll through each section, click your pages, and make sure everything loads properly. So this step helps you catch those small issues early, like spacing problems or broken links, before anyone else sees the site. Publishing works a bit differently here compared to typical website builders too. Since Anti-Gravity is a full IDE, you're not locked into a single platform. You can choose where you want to host your site and then connect your own domain if needed. So that flexibility is useful, especially if you already have a preferred setup. You also have multiple options when it comes to deployment. You can use Firebase hosting, which is what's shown here in the video, or go with other platforms like Vercel, Netlify, or GitHub Pages. Anti-Gravity helps with this part by generating the configuration files and even the terminal commands that you need, so you're not starting from scratch. So here's the prompt we're going to use to prepare the site. Please prepare this website for deployment on Firebase hosting, generate the necessary Firebase configuration files, and deploy it live. After running that, Anti-Gravity sets up everything needed for deployment. The full process can involve a few extra steps depending on the platform, especially with Firebase, but the main setup is already handled for you. And once that's done, your site is ready to be deployed and shared. Alright, so that is Anti-Gravity. You've seen what it actually does when you use it step by step and not just what it claims. It can build a solid starting point really fast, handle a lot of the repetitive work, and save you time, but it still depends on how you use it. So if your prompts are vague, then the results will feel generic. If you're very specific and intentional, you can get something that actually looks and works the way that you want. So take what you've seen here, try it out yourself, and then see how far you can push it based on your own ideas. So that's it for this one. Thank you for investing your time with me today. I'll catch you at the next one.